Welcome to the Brunswick Built Podcast, the podcast that features the inspiring stories of Brunswick County Schools, students, and staff, those that make us proud to be Brunswick Built. Welcome to today's episode of the Brunswick Built Podcast. We're diving into the innovative efforts of the Digital Learning Specialist team in Brunswick County Schools. We'll explore the role of digital learning and school library services, how specialists adapt lesson plans with technology, and the impact on student engagement and skills development. Tune in to discover the transformative power of digital tools and the team's mission to prepare students for leadership in life. My name is Benjamin Strauss, and I'm the Communication and Marketing Specialist. Joining me today is the Director of Digital Learning and School Library Services and two members of her Digital Learning Specialist team, Anna Neville and Nick Westphier. Thank you for joining us. Why don't you introduce yourself and describe a bit of what you do for Brunswick County Schools, Jeannie?
I'm Jeannie Timken, the Director of Digital Learning and School Library Services for Brunswick County Schools, and what we do here, we support the school libraries, their collections at the school level and at the district level. And the digital learning specialists, there are 4 for the district. They support teachers and students in the schools.
And joining us today from her team is Anna Neville. And Anna, you are a DLS, and what schools do you work at?
Yes, I'm so happy to be here, first off, and I get to support schools mostly on the northern end with Belleville Elementary, Lincoln Elementary, Leland Middle, but I also travel down to Virginia Williamson, and the coast.
And then at the end of the table, we have Nick Westphier. Nick, what schools do you cover?
Thanks for letting us be here. I cover schools kind of in the central and south area, so I go to Jessie May Monroe, I go to Waccamaw, I go to South Brunswick High, South Brunswick Middle, and also West Brunswick High School.
Awesome. Well, thank you for everything that you guys do today. I know you have a lot to do with supporting the teachers and all the digital learning, especially all the library school services in the schools. So how do digital learning specialists like those in Brunswick County Schools work with teachers to adapt lesson plans and incorporate technology in ways that enhance student learning?
Well, I think we're mostly in this position because all of us are super passionate about helping teachers make their digital learning dreams come true. And so for each teacher, that can differ a little bit, but really I think that at its core, it's about empowering students to learn by giving them choice and ensuring we have access to those digital tools to help every student's voice be heard. A lot of our teachers are at different levels of comfort with technology, which really we can customize to their teaching comforts and their teaching expertise. So when we enter the classroom space, we're often supporting teachers through instruction or through training or professional development to help them feel empowered to use the whole suite of digital learning tools we have available within the district, but also helping students really personalize their use of the technology they have access to. So for instance, we're 1-to-1 in the district with Chromebooks, meaning there is one Chromebook device for every student. And we also have a lot of other resources we empower students to use, like iPads, resources within our maker spaces, which are housed in our school libraries, like 3D printers, and more. So we're really all about building those digital learning skills that align to our state's digital learning standards for students and teachers.
I think one other thing that our team has is we have kind of a history in different specialties. So I was a high school science teacher. I've done that for 17 years, and so my understanding of both how high schools work and science in general helps me meet a lot of teachers where they need support. So they may not be a high school science teacher, but they may be a high school teacher who would like also some experience both with the digital learning and with students kind of working in the classroom and building projects or building digital repositories where they can use things over and over again. So when we help teachers, it's great that we help them and allow them to make a really cool unit or a really cool lesson. But the nice thing is it also gets shared across both other classrooms in that school and sometimes district-wide. So when we can make a positive improvement in one teacher's classroom setting, that also gets shared by that teacher and by us to other places in our school system.
I also want to add that even though, like you mentioned, Nick, we all have different specialties in our background, one of the things that we strive to do with the digital learning specialist is to create activities and lessons that are aligned with the standards, the curriculum standards for every classroom, so that we're just giving students another way to engage with the content and hopefully make that learning stick.
Perfect. And how do digital learning specialists stay up to date on the latest educational technology trends to ensure Brunswick County's teachers and students have access to cutting-edge tools?
Well, they're always learning. They always learn something new. They share at state conferences. They attend state conferences. They participate in district, state, and national PLCs on their interests. They each have their own passions that they bring to the table.
So when you guys are out in the schools and you're working with different teachers, would you incorporate different DLSs based on their experiences and their backgrounds? If there was something that, say, Nick, you were having trouble with, would you incorporate Anna to help you with that teacher overcoming any challenges that they might face?
That is something that we do. So we all go to our certain schools, but we are not limited to going to those schools. So there's many times that I'll go, and I will actually go to another school that I don't typically serve, just to help out or just to lend my expertise. I'm not an end-all be-all knowledge of any of these particular things, but what I can do is I can help the other DLSs and I can help the teachers find the best use and best practices in their classroom. So we do work with each other quite a bit. We're able to communicate directly to each other throughout the day. We also will meet together in group meetings just to work things out. But we really do work together as a team to help support all the teachers and students in the county.
In addition to our team, they also work with instructional coaches.
Oh, perfect. So what we're learning here today is that Brunswick County has many facets to help the teachers get the support they need. What challenges do teachers or students face when adopting digital learning, and how does the Digital Learning and School Library Services team help them overcome that?
Well, I think with anything, we see that the whole digital realm is constantly evolving, right? There's constantly new tools, new resources, updates to resources we know and love that can present kind of a base level challenge for any user. There's always a bit of a learning curve, and that's where we really come into play. We really support teachers and students in learning how to operate and utilize technology, whether they be devices or the actual applications we interact with on a daily basis.
And we do use all the tools at our hands to track the usage and impact data of what we're doing in the applications, and we can identify trends and go in and do some specific PD on topics as we see the need for them.
And PD would be professional development that we offer to our staff and our teachers that help them overcome and achieve new goals and learn new things as they progress in their teaching at platform. What are some examples of digital tools or platforms like those accessible through Clever that have transformed how teachers deliver lessons or how students interact with content?
One thing I'm currently working with is Discovery Education, which is an online repository for both materials and lessons that teachers can use. We currently use a science tech book in the K-5 arena, and we use a social studies tech book through Discovery Ed for 6 through 8 social studies. And what this allows is all the teachers in the district who teach those grade levels have a set of resources that they can go to. They don't have to use the resources, they don't have to use the lessons, but what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that all the students in all the schools have at least the same access to resources, so they can all have the ability to learn and grow on their own.
I think what's really nice about so many of these applications that we offer as well, some of the most common we see are iExcel and iReady being discussed. iExcel specifically at the middle school level, and iReady as well at the elementary and middle levels, where they have two things that are really important to instruction, which is the ability to deliver immediate feedback and for teachers to not only support that feedback, but see that feedback that's delivered to students and really get a real-time look at data over the long term. So things that used to take teachers hours upon days of work to really look at in order to support their students and support them as they grow, we can now see with the click of a button. So the way that we can view data now to empower our students as learners and track growth and ensure that growth is occurring has really transformed the teaching landscape.
That's awesome. Being able to get real-time feedback on your students' learning can really help gauge the way you set them down a path and get them on that path and keep them there. Totally. From a student's perspective, how has access to digital resources like those in the digital learning ecosystem helped you explore new subject or skills like critical thinking or collaboration?
I think now especially with the set of resources that we curate. Students have a safe environment of curated resources that they can explore in. So we know that we're providing vetted resources for students to ensure that they have a safe place to go to really still search for their interests, search for their information. Two platforms that stand out to me are Discovery Ed as Newsella, or as Nick mentioned earlier in Newsella. Both of these have a huge collection of resources that students can go in and utilize a search feature for to find things that they're interested in, and we know that they're accessing safe material that's accurate every time.
Awesome. And what role do digital learning specialists play in supporting Brunswick County's mission to prepare students for leadership in line as outlined in the Brunswick Built initiative?
Well, I always have to throw this out when we're talking about Brunswick Built. I started my teaching career in Brunswick County Schools, so I get super excited about ensuring that our students benefit from our Brunswick Built mindset as well. And being Brunswick Built is all about a really special community we have here, a community of support and a community that we are instilling a principle in where we know that we want our students, teachers, and staff alike to be able to contribute positively to our Brunswick County community, whether that is our in-person community, our digital community, and beyond. So specifically for our mission for students with that leadership in life, we know that students entering the workforce are going to have a specific digital skill set. And that's where digital learning comes in. So we are partnering with teachers and students every day to make sure they know how to utilize what's at their fingertips to customize that to efficiently do any task they're presented with.
I also want to add that we have the Be Cyber Safe program that is implemented in schools across the district, and that is a collection of lessons on digital citizenship and well-being. And I think when we talk to students and have these conversations about how to behave online, how to interact with others, how to spot scams even, I think we're setting them up for success.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining me today on the Brunswick Built podcast. We appreciate everything that the DLS team does for our district and empowers the students and teachers. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the Brunswick Built podcast, brought to you by Brunswick County Schools. To catch all of our episodes, search for the Brunswick Built podcast on our YouTube channel.